Hello, Tess. This is Joe DuPont, and I did a YouTube before. Um, had to do with the concept of judging the United States health in terms of tons of output and not dollars. We hear all this talk about that we did so many dollars in this, and even in retail sales, a record. When we set a record, it was like 2% higher or something than last year on Black Friday. Fact of the matter is, things cost more than 2%. I don't know if any of you have gone to the grocery store and looked what they're getting for chicken, what they're getting for vegetables. I mean, it's unconscionable. You're actually paying more for some vegetables than a lot of vegetables than you are for chicken. Beef is totally out of this world. It's so expensive that no one really can afford it, and perhaps we eat too much of it. The problem with our meats, they're all raised with corn. Everything has corn sweeteners in it. Um, it's just corns and everything is very pervasive. But getting back to this whole poundage thing, we should be seeing how many pounds of steel the United States produced, how many pounds of plastic we produced. We do know that a greater percentage of our coal, I believe, is being exported. Or is it less? No, it's a less percentage of coal, I think. Whatever. The point is, it's very hard to get this data in terms of pounds, tons, of over a period of time. I imagine some of you could get it. But to talk about dollars, it's ridiculous. I mean, when they talk about a record in sports, they're talking about how many seconds or minutes it took to do something, or how high they jumped, or how much weight they used. These are things you can measure, and you can measure over and over again, and know exactly what the deal is. If someone picked up 500 pounds and that was a record, and someone picked up 550 pounds 10 years later, you could say that was a 10% increase. Same as land speed records. Actually, you have to break a land speed record by a certain percentage. My point being, using dollars is any indicator of anything unless they're corrected, and it's even questionable how you can correct it, because the poor slob who spends most of his money on food is getting hit harder than the rich millionaire. When it comes to even fuel, back in the 60s when I was growing up, you could buy a gallon of gas for a quarter. If you had that same silver quarter today, you could still buy a gallon of gas, which tells you something about the value of the intrinsic metals like silver and gold versus the worthless dollar. And yet, everybody is brainwashed to think that this inflation is good. And psychologically, it's good because you go to work for a place and you start off at $4 an hour, and next thing you know, you're at $5 and $6 and $7. But in real purchasing power, you might even be worse off at the $7 or $8 you eventually ended up with by the time you retire. I mean, you feel proud. Wow, I got a raise. Well, and not only that, the government got more money out of it. Even this whole time and a half thing, making the employer pay you time and a half because you work over 40 hours. I mean, what's that all about? It's to the point where employees are saying, screw it, I'll hire another person rather than pay the time and a half. I mean, there's no way your productivity's gone up 50%. So they're forcing people to get jobs with other people. The government gets more money out of those because they take out of the Social Security. A lot going on in this country, and I really wish the Republicans would not stab each other in knife fights during this primary event. Mitt Romney, who I have no real love for, at least I think he's laying back and questioning, why aren't these people talking about Obama? The same Obama who lied to us when he was trying to get the nomination, saying that the biggest difference between him and Hillary was the fact that she was for mandatory health insurance and he isn't. So you gotta really wonder why the media is not talking about this, why the Republicans aren't talking about that. That congressman who called Obama a liar, he's no longer a congressman. And he apologized to the president for calling him a liar. The guy is a friggin' liar. What can I tell you? And we can't afford 4 more years. But, in fairness to Obama, we didn't get to where we are just because of Obama. This thing's been going on. The financial people, Phil Gramm passed some law that allowed all this leveraging of money. I mean, we got to take a look at what does this mean? What does it all mean? What do these people actually do? What do they actually do? They build wealth for who? They're not building wealth for me. Who are they building wealth for? Please tell me. All these futures on oil and gas. The only person who should be able to buy a future in oil and gas is like a shipping company, an airline, somebody who uses the product, and they want to stabilize and have some sort of cost containment on what it's going to cost them to fly his plane, so he can calculate what he has to charge for tickets and the whole thing. But this isn't happening. So anyhow, that's kind of my rant for today. We covered a lot of subjects, a lot of information. But if you have any good data, good graphs on pounds of production going from more or less today back on any, I don't care if it's I guess it'd be tons of coal, tons of wheat. I know they use bushels for wheat and that type of thing. But this gasohol, fiasco is another thing which, begs people to question, but no one's questioning that. No one's questioning the artificial colors we ingest, the artificial flavors, forcing us to take mercury-contaminated vaccines, genetically modified crops. They don't want us to know the stuff's genetically modified. A lot of stuff going on here. We're being treated like cattle, and I just wish that 99 percenters, the Occupy Wall Street people, would really actually say something. They're not really hitting some of the targets. I mean, for instance, why can't we grow hemp? Not to get high like all the friggin' hippies want to do, but why can't we grow hemp commercially and reduce the pollution of producing newspaper by, I think, down to about a third? That should be a presidential question, not legalizing marijuana to get high. As far as getting high, if you're seriously ill, ultimately, and if you're in your last stages of it, and you're not working, there's no need to be driving a car and all that, and you should be able to get high on whatever you want. I mean, that should be your choice to deal with your fate however you want to do it. I personally would hope that I would still want to keep my mind as sharp as possible and learning as much as I can, but who knows? So, wise up, get smart, figure out why they repeat all this nonsense on TV all day long. The news is just the same news over and over and over again with an agenda. We have to get Obama out. We got to vote him out of office. This should be the last time we elect a president whose both parents hated the United States. The last president whose wife basically only felt that she was proud to be an American or proud of this country after her husband's nominated for the Democratic Party. I mean, can you imagine if everybody had that standard? They'd be like one person liking the United States. I guess if she gets voted out, she won't like the United States anymore. I don't know. But you folks will probably vote them back in, and the media will say how wonderful they are and how wonderful they are. Whereas all their friends like bomb makers, and it's amazing where they're picking on Mitt Romney because of his Mormon religion. No, they're not talking about Reverend Wright and the stuff that Obama was involved with him and all his buddies. Crazy. Oh well, whatever happens, and we'll get what we deserve in spades. Take care. Bye.